Hello, I'm Doz and welcome along to Raycom TV. I'm here with Mr. Easton today and we're looking at the long-awaited MRK16. So the MRK16 is a 1U rack unit that, when equipped with 4 MCR54s, gives us 16 channels, or 8 channels when fitted with the MCR54 dual.
But there's so much more, isn't there?
There is so much more. The superb connectivity and control that's available on this unit is second to none. So from left to right, starting of course with the power supply, we've got a DC input here, anywhere between 10 and 28 volts, and it's wired to allow for dual redundant power supplies. And we come along to the first bit of our clever connectivity. We have 2 control ports at the top there. That's conventional Ethernet, usually used for connecting to Wisycom Manager, but on this unit also you can actually power the unit via PoE or supply PoE to something like an access point. Underneath there we've got Dante primary and secondary. Just to the right of there is a USB-C port. Again, this can be used to locally connect to Wisycom Manager, or it also supplies up to 1.5 amps of power for a tablet, telephone, etc. Moving along, we've got our AES59 25-way D connector. Obviously gives us our 16 channels of AES, and underneath our AES72, and that's for, again, our 16 channels of digital audio out. Moving to the right again, a Bluetooth 5 long-range port, a little antenna to go on there, which allows remote control over hundreds of meters. And underneath there, we have 2 25-way Ds, and that's analog out, and that's wired to be compatible with Tascam equipment. There is another blank port here, and this is for an optional GPIO interface. Okay, over to Piers. What's at the RF end, Piers?
Well, actually, before we get to the RF bit, it's probably worth mentioning the fan, because that is very, very quiet. I know that will be of concern to a lot of people, and when this unit is on, you literally cannot hear it. We were recording earlier on with it the other way around, and the fan was on, you don't hear it. It only speeds up when it needs to, and even then it's really silent. A very good fan. It's a very special fan indeed. Then we get into the really exciting RF bits. Well, very exciting to me anyway, but I'm a bit strange, but we all know that. We've got 4 sockets. That's for 2 diversity pairs of antenna, because this actually allows for 2 zones. So it's effectively got an RF matrix built in, which allows for 2 diversity pairs of antennas in 2 different zones. Really, really exciting is you can actually daisy chain to up to 4 racks, which gives 64 channels. That's 64 channels of wireless in 4U of rack, which is
incredible.
It does
absolutely incredible.
Beggar belief, to be honest. So above the main RF inputs, we've got an expansion board. This expansion board allows for RF over fibre, which means you can run incredibly long lengths of fibre to this unit. So you can have a remote pair of antennas kilometres away, potentially, coming in on SC, APC, fibre connectors here. That converts the RF over fibre into RF, which comes out here, which can be looped into one of the diversity pairs of inputs on one of the zones. You can also actually use a passive combiner to combine a local second pair of antennas in with the fibre as well, allowing effectively 3 zones, because there's enough gain makeup within the RF over fibre to compensate for any loss in that combiner. So it's incredibly versatile on that front.
Okay, so you mentioned there's phantom power on our RF inputs. Does that mean if I connect, say, a Wisycom LFA antenna, I can remotely control the filter and gain?
Absolutely, yes. The antennas connected to these ports at the back are entirely remote controllable via Wisycom Manager, so you can adjust the filters and gain and turn them on and off and so forth. On top of all of that, this unit actually also has its own filters built in,
wow,
which it will select automatically depending on what frequencies you've set on the receivers. So it will look at the lowest and highest frequency in use in the entire rack and set the filters appropriately. Now that is truly remarkable.
That's impressive. Let's turn the unit back around and see what controls we have on the front. Okay, here's the front panel of the MRK16. As you can see, we've got some LED indicators across the top here. These 4 indicate we've got zones A and B selected. The next 4, which are currently extinguished, show we've got no phantom power switched on. You can switch each antenna on individually. The next 4 are our power status LEDs. We've currently got 1 power supply connected. The next LED is actually, it would indicate if our dual redundant supply is available. And the last 2 are power over Ethernet. And the last one is just an on indicator. Underneath that, you can see we have a rotary encoder here. It's got a push button function as well. And underneath that is our headphone jack. Now you can monitor any output from any receiver. So you've got 16 channels here that we can select using the pot and then adjust.
And it highlights on the screen, doesn't it?
Does
so
highlight,
you know which receiver you're
highlight
listening
which channel you're listening to, and you can adjust the volume with the encoder. The MCR54 itself, of course, has its own front panel, and you will notice there's no RF connection made at the front panel. There's no little pigtail coming out because it's actually made on the back plane itself.
Yeah, when you plug it in, it actually tells the receiver to switch over from the front sockets to the rear sockets, which makes just life a lot easier. If you don't need to pull it out to put it in a camera or in your bag, there's no fiddling around.
And it's tidier as well. Also, we can use the front panel to control the inbuilt antenna matrix. So we press and hold the control, utilises one of the MCR54's display, and then it's a standard menu structure to switch on and off the phantom power and change the matrix to suit our requirements.
Which of course you can also do via remote control, but yes, if you do want to do it from the front panel, it's really very easy. Likewise, the headphone volume control takes over one of the displays and shows you the volume you've set, and again highlights which channel in which receiver you're listening to. So it really is quite an incredible product, doesn't it? I mean, game-changing, I think. It's not a phrase I like to use willy-nilly, but I think it's probably appropriate in this case. So that's about it in this brief overview of the product. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about it. We're going to be doing some much more in-depth reviews of it in the coming weeks. So do make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep checking, because we'll be back with more.
Click that bell for further content.
Thanks for watching.